Hey gods and goddesses, I'm back with something delicious and absolutely electric. Stay tuned. Today we're making something electric and absolutely delicious. We are making some Jamaican dumplings. So to make these lovely dumplings, you're gonna need 2 cups of white spelt flour. So you pour all that goodness in there. Then to mimic the cornmeal texture that most people add, you are going to add some lovely ground kamut flour as well. So you're going to pour your kamut flour in, that's 1 cup. Then you are going to add some lovely sea salt. You're going to approximately add 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. Flour and salt are the main ingredients, but I like to add a nice little herbs to my dumplings as well. So I'm going to input just 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'm also going to add some lovely oregano. I'm just going to input a teaspoon of it. Then I am going to create a lovely well. So you put a lovely well, which is just basically putting a hole in the middle of your dough. Then you're going to pour in 1/2 cup of spring water. You're going to mix this in first, just so everything gets fully acclimated. All right, you're going to add the rest of your water. You're going to make it into a nice dough ball. And the reason why I'm using the spoon to begin with is so all of my ingredients could be combined without my hands getting very sticky. I'm going to add some more water until we get a nice dough. That was 1/2 cup. I'm now going to go in with my hands to make a nice dough out of it. Just so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So right now I'm combining it. I'm going to tuck some ingredients in. I'm then going to input another 1/2 cup of water. Then we're going to get everything combined. Then you're going to start kneading everything together. So you're going to grab and tuck your dough. Grab and tuck your dough. Grab and just tuck in your dough. And of course you can do this with a food processor, but I like using my hands because that is the way I learned and how to make it. And in my opinion, that is the best way to make it. A work of art. So now that I've made my lovely dough, I am going to start rolling it like so to make my dumplings. So I'm just going to keep rolling it together. This way it'll be easier for you to just cut it out. So I'm going to roll my dough into like a log shape. Keep rolling it into a log shape. All right, we're then going to just flour our surface. These little dumplings, you're going to cut a piece of your dough. So make sure it's the size that you like your dumplings to be. You're then going to roll it into a lovely ball. Roll it into a lovely ball. It doesn't have to be a perfect ball. Okay. So cut pieces of your dough. Then you're going to make a nice ball with it, like so. Then you can put a lovely, you're gonna try to put like a hole in the middle of it, like so. So just take your finger like this. It's not gonna go right through. Just press it in. All right. Nice little hole inside. A little mock hole inside of the dough. And you're gonna set that aside. So, I'm not only gonna just make dumplings, I'm also gonna make some lovely provisions. So the provisions I'm gonna be using are some lovely butternut squash. Of course, I gotta find some reason to add, or some way to add my butternut squash. I'm gonna just cut these really big to add some lovely Boro bananas, because usually this meal is paired with green bananas, but I'm going to use Boro banana since we're using a Dr. Sebi approved. And this one is basically turning, it's not green, it's not ripe. You can use a green one or you can use a ripe one, however you like them. So to cut them, you just cut the tips, cut the bottom, and then you're just going to make a nice little slit on the side, like so. And then you're just going to take your fingernails, dig in, and peel the skin off. Some people usually boil the bananas with the skin on, but I choose not to use it with the skin just to make my life a lot easier. You can choose to do whatever you like. I'm going to cut this in half. You're then going to add 5 cups of spring water to a pot. You are going to bring it to a boil. Also going to add some lovely sea salt to this mix. When your water is boiling, the first thing you're going to do is add your lovely butternut squash, because that takes the longest to boil. So add all your butternut squash in. So my butternut squash has been boiling so nicely. So now it's time for me to add in my lovely Boro bananas. I'm gonna gently put this in because I'm not trying to get splashed with some hot water. That would not be a pretty sight. Then I'm going to add in my lovely dumplings. Pour that in, drop that in nice. So boil everything for 15 minutes until your dumplings are nice and soft. Pour some red onions. So the first thing you're gonna do to create your lovely Caribbean stew, you're going to add some lovely oil. So we're gonna add a teaspoon of grapeseed oil. You're gonna spread that around. You're then going to add in your lovely onions. And your tomatoes. Then you're gonna add in your lovely sweet pepper / bell peppers. Do that up as well. And of course, you're going to add your lovely oyster mushrooms, which is your saltfish replacement. Saute that up nice. And you're also going to add in some lovely okras. You can omit this if you like. So throw in your okra. Dry thyme, or you can use fresh thyme, whatever you like. I'm adding 1/4 teaspoon of that. I'm also going to add in a teaspoon of agave to enhance the sweetness of our stew. I'm also going to input some lovely kelp. So I'm using kelp granules to make it that fishy taste, because if this is going to be saltfish, then you got to add something fishy to it to give it that nice taste. So I'm going to add in about a teaspoon of this. I'm also going to add some basil, some dry basil, but this is optional. And that's going to be 1/4 teaspoon of basil. And of course, I can't forget my hot pepper. My hot pepper, my lovely cayenne pepper. You can use some habanero pepper. I'm then going to input half a teaspoon of tamarind concentrate. You can use tamarind paste if you like. And I'm going to mix this in. I'm also going to add in some lovely tomato sauce. And the tomato sauce is created just by blending 2 plum tomatoes with half a teaspoon of spring water. So I'm going to mix this in. And the tomato sauce really enhances the flavor of our dish. We're also going to input half a teaspoon of onion powder. And we're going to input 2 teaspoons of spring water. We're going to mix in all of this goodness. And we're going to let this cook down for approximately 5 minutes. So according to my mom, she would say you have to let the stew down. So the stew is stewing down nicely. And our lovely bananas and dumplings are finito. So 5 minutes has passed and our lovely stew has stewed down perfectly. And our lovely dumplings, butternut squash, and Bora bananas are cooked to perfection. So we're gonna add a little bit of our stew to the side of our plate. Just look at how beautiful this is. Oh my, my, my. The king done up. So this is what your final product will look like. This meal pairs really well with some lovely avocado. And this is a really great breakfast or lunch or even a dinner idea. So try it and let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.